Hello everybody, we're back with another verses. I did two back to back. This one I been sitting on for quite some time. So I wanted to do a discussion video going over who will win in a fight between the Amazons of Paradise Island from DC Comics versus the Dora Milaje from Marvel Comics. Now, I want to break it down here because like a lot of people thinking it's gotta be the Amazons, right? Because whatever, it's Amazons, right? But luckily, it's like just it's a generalized, like army on army, so it shouldn't take long to break down their feats and skills, and see. Let's start with the Amazons. Just to overview, let's go with Earth 1 and New Earth and Earth Prime. Prime Earth, yeah. Okay. Eventually, the Amazons were forced to leave Earth as their magic was exhausted after their 10,000 year stay on Earth. For this reason, they went to another dimension to rest and renew their powers, but Diana chose to remain on Earth, harnessing her Amazonian powers. The New Earth, the Amazons of Themyscira, are a race of immortal warrior women that live on the mystically hidden island of Themyscira. They were created by a coterie of Olympian goddesses over 3,000 years ago to serve as their messengers to the world in the name of peace and justice. The youngest and most powerful of Amazons, Prince Diana, left her protective nation of sisterhood, renouncing her immortality to fight the forces of evil in man's world as Wonder Woman. Around the year 1200 BC, a small group of female Olympian gods desired to create a nation of warrior women that would help to spread their ideals to the world. Met with disinterest or opposition by most of their male counterparts, the goddesses Hestia, Aphrodite, Demeter, Athena, and Artemis convened in the land of the underworld. There, in the caverns of souls, were kept the spirits of all women who had unjustly died at the hands of a man. The five goddesses combined their powers to grant life to all the souls, with the exception of one whom they decided would have a special future purpose. Through their magics, the goddesses formed thousands of superhumanly strong adult female bodies from the clay bed of a lake in Greece and imbued them with the spirits from the Well of Souls. It's funny, Darksiders game have a Well of Souls as well. The first such creature to emerge from the lake was dubbed Hippolyta by the goddesses, and she was crowned queen of these women, to be henceforth known as Amazons. The second woman to emerge from the lake was called Antipe, and according to the goddesses, she was supposed to rule as second in command. The Amazons were to serve the Olympian gods in proselytical manner, spreading their principles and devotion to a largely barbarian world. They were given a city-state in Greece, the land adjacent to the lake of their birth, and they called it Themyscira. There they thrived for many years before they were attacked by the forces of Hercules and were saved only through the intervention of the goddesses. Their home destroyed and prospects for success in their worldly mission dashed. Antipe led a portion of the Amazons away from her sister and influence of the gods to travel to the world in search of a new purpose. They eventually settled in Egypt, becoming known as the Amazons of Bana Magdhal. Most Amazons, however, stayed with Hippolyta to repay the gods for their rescue. The remaining Amazons were sent far away from their home in Greece to a mystical paradisical island in uncharted oceans. There, the Amazons took up a new God-given purpose to guard the earth from a terrible evil buried beneath the island. For thousands of years, the Amazons of Themyscira stayed isolated from humanity until about 40 years ago when Diana Trevor, an American air pilot, crash landed offshore. Diana Trevor. I think he meant like Steve Trevor, and Diana met him. Became friends with the inhabitants of Themyscira and taught them of the changes in the world beyond their protected shores. Shortly, therefore, the demons locked beneath the islands almost escaped, but through bravery and ultimate sacrifice of Trevor, the threat was averted. She was given an Amazonian burial and hailed as one of the greatest of all Amazon warriors. The gods of Olympus were greatly disturbed by Trevor's interest through the mystical barriers that guarded Themyscira. They recognized it as a sign of their weakening powers. When Hippolyta soon followed her mounting desire to ask the gods to grant her a child, they easily agreed and took it as an opportunity to create a super warrior who would champion their cause as the Amazons had originally been intended to. Telling Hippolyta to sculpt a baby out of clay, the gods that created the Amazons brought life to the earthling baby, and the first child of Themyscira was born. She was named Diana in honor of Trevor, and her soul was the last of the last remaining spirit from the Well of Souls, when she grew to adulthood, Prince Diana left Themyscira and became known to the world as Wonder Woman. The Earth Prime version, the Amazons are children of the Queen Olympian goddess Hera, goddess of women. They are part of a race of immortal warrior women and lived on the mystically hidden island of Themyscira. When humankind was still young, the matriarchal oracles of each pantheon foresaw a danger coming from the stars. Since the gods who couldn't see the threat didn't take it seriously, those goddesses united to find a solution and decided to create a new race. To achieve that, they poured their godly essence into the Holy Grail, so their energies would mingle and each goddess drank a sip from the resulting liquid. Afterwards, the goddesses split up to find consorts and give birth to the new race. Hera, the matriarchal oracle of the Olympian pantheon, went to Themyscira and gave birth to the new race under the name of Amazons. Thus, tribes such as the Amazons and the Valkyries are part of the same race, sharing the same origin. However, according to the versions of mythology known as Dr. Barba and Minerva, Queen Ortera was the mother of the Amazons by Ares, but it was also mentioned by the Amazon Castelia that the nymph Harmonia was their mother by Ares, not to be confused with the goddess Harmonia, daughter of Ares and Aphrodite. The truth of their true origin and destiny will be kept from the Amazons for centuries until an Amazon general named Hestia discovered the truth during her journey in the Viking era. As in Hestia's eyes, the Amazons should be able to choose their own destiny. She cut the thread of Amazon destiny held by Moore. Unbeknownst to Hestia, her actions didn't stop the goddess's scheme. They prophesied the birth of a woman whose destiny would be to lead the Amazons. More centuries would pass before the birth of the prophesied one, Diana, later to be known as Wonder Woman. And the Amazons, Amazonian physiology, superhuman strength, durability, stamina, agility, immortality. Amazonian training. Amazons hone their skills in many fields, aided by the gifts from Athena and Artemis. Archery, equestrianism, and then combat, swordsmanship. Their habitat allowed them to thrive on an oxygen mixed with nitrogen-rich atmosphere. Probably helps with strong stamina and less likely to be exhausted. Population varies as their highest growth. Amazons number in the thousands. At one point, lost 1,200, which was half their number at that time. Type of government in most versions is a monarchy. On New Earth is originally a monarchy, but Themyscira became a democratic nation following the death of Hippolyta. Technology is varies, I guess, from the ancient Greece to like a society more advanced than the rest of the world. But by and large, they're still in the era of like ancient Greek, so they will have like, Thermopylae kind of stuff, like, swords, spears, shields, ride on horses. They don't have any kind of like high technology at all. Not any more advanced than like something like Alexander the Great would probably use. We'll use Hippolyta as like the primary source of like what can he actually do? Because a lot of people will think, oh, they're immortal gods, but don't get that confused. Because it's been, if you read a decent amount of comics, especially DC involving Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman has died a couple of times. Her immortality just means that she can just never age, but she can be killed. It takes a lot, but it can be done. And like you gotta be like near godlike kind of strength to actually take down Wonder Woman. So ipso facto, it could fall in the same category with the rest of the Amazons. So like Hippolyta being the queen, they all will have like the same kind of relatively same skills. So it's kind of like archery, horsemanship. So like, should we use Wonder Woman as like a good source? But Wonder Woman is like a good primary source. Obviously, they all will have like finer strength than elite athletes. But like that's what I'm saying. Like I really want to use Wonder Woman as like a example, at least like. They're like her, but not like her. Wonder Woman is like very unique. She's like, obviously greater than a lot of the Amazons, but she should be like at least like the bar. It's like, probably they wouldn't be able to. The other Amazons wouldn't be able to take on the kind of threats Wonder Woman does. At least half of them, they should. So like their skills should be like as half as effective as Wonder Woman. So, because they should be nearly as great as Wonder Woman. So they should be able to like heal and have like superhuman reflexes and durability and so forth. she managed to defeat the goddess Artemis as well as draw blood from the firstborn. Obviously, hardly any other Amazons will be able to, achieve that feat. But obviously, can like take on like at least a couple of parademons here and there. Sure, I believe an Amazon can easily achieve that. Yeah, see, like, immortality, she does not age. It doesn't mean she cannot die. They're like demigoddess in a way. Maybe not all of them can fly. Like Hippolyta and Diana is the only ones that actually can fly. The other Amazons, they don't fly. I know that for a fact. Because maybe it's just their unique bloodline. Let's go into Dora Milaje now. Dora Milaje, our personal bodyguards of the Black Panther, recruited from every tribe of Wakanda. In addition, with their protective function, they are also a pool of superior Wakandan women. An ancient tribal tradition, the Dora Milaje were assembled as potential queens for an unmarried king, maintaining the peace in Wakanda by ensuring that every tribe has the opportunity to put forward one of their daughters for the crown. Dora Milaje traditionally speak in a Hausa dialect, and only to the king or each other. The practice of employing Dora Milaje was discontinued until recent years. So over time, the Order of Dora Milaje expanded considerably, with more than a dozen active participants from various tribes. Their service continued even after T'Challa's marriage to Aurora. During the Civil War, the Dora Milaje assisted T'Challa on a few occasions on their quality of bodyguards. When Storm and T'Challa visited the White House, an incident led the Dora Milaje to battle War Machine and his Sentinels, and they were subsequently researched by the U.S. government. Later, T'Challa intended to meet Captain America in order to organize the resistance against the Superhuman Registration Act, but was followed by the Black Widow. To get rid of her, T'Challa left two Dora Milaje to confront her. Iron Man and Cape Killers came to the Wakanda embassy in order to arrest the Dora Milaje, who had attacked Rhodes but were denied access to the embassy by Storm. During Dark Reign, after a fight with Doom, who cost the lives of two Dora Milaje and handicapped him for a time, T'Challa decided to initiate a specialized fighting style for the Adored Ones so they can better perform against robots and magic, which are Doom's primary weapons in battle. T'Challa set up a final test, which was a real fight during which two Dora Milaje died among the 30 candidates. Doom War. When Doom tried to take over Wakanda, the Dora Milaje paid a large tribute with 500 Doras against the 80,000 soldiers of the Wakanda Army and Navy. They then were used as Shuri's army to destroy Doom's global network. T'Challa intended to kill Doom, sending Deadpool and a commando of Dora Milaje known as the Midnight Angels. During the last moments of the war with Thanos, the Dora Milaje rejected T'Challa, denouncing to Shuri the meetings of her brother with Namor, while war was declared on Atlantis following Namor's attack against Wakanda, while he was under the influence of the Phoenix. They broke their spears symbolically and fully came under the orders of Queen Shuri. The 500 Doras against the 80,000 soldiers. of the Wakanda Army and Navy. So like roughly 500. I was trying to see, like, getting a mindset of like how many Dora Milaje. It's like elite guard specifically, so there shouldn't be that much of them. It's like 500. Like a very like special forces kind of situation. Not everybody can join kind of situation, but there's more Amazons. Like everybody on Themyscira is an Amazon, so every person there can fight. And it isn't like a select group of specialized soldiers. Apparent resolution within the Dora Milaje revolution, originated by Ao and Anita, similarly stole 2 prototypes of the Midnight Angel armor and defected from the Black Panthers regime, believing that Wakanda deserves a better government. Ao and Akina began to liberate oppressed Wakandans they believed the crown had neglected for too long, starting with a bandit compound in northern Wakanda that captured women, rallying them, including Mbali. And the village where the Midnight Angels and the women they liberated were staying was ravaged by the white guerrilla army forces of the Jabari lands. They fought back, becoming an army of self-proclaimed Dora Milaje. Joined by the Jabari tribesmen and other Dora Milaje, the Midnight Angels killed white guerrilla Lord Mandala and took control of the Jabari lands, covering tribunals, assembling communes, calling for elections, writing laws, and gaining the support of numerous Jabari tribesmen in the process. Following the conquest of the Jabari lands, the Dora Milaje were offered the support of another rebel force, the People, led by Titu. However, Ao and Inika remained cautious. In spite of this, the Dora Milaje established an alliance with the People after being assisted to fend off an attack from Black Panthers Hatu Zaraze. The Midnight Angels and the People later planned to carry out a coordinated attack against the Golden City. However, it resulted in nothing when the Midnight Angels confronted the People for the violent tendencies of their soldiers towards women liberated. Convinced by Mbali, the Midnight Angels later liberated the Hatu Zarazi they had taken prisoners in order to show them they wouldn't give in to violent methods in order to liberate Wakanda and to foment empathy among the people of Wakanda. Once she had ended her message, publicly announcing that she had rejected T'Challa and the monarchy, Anika ran away in the woods, screaming that they had no country anymore, only to face the returned Queen Shuri. Shuri confronted Anika and subsequently Ao and asked them to assist the Black Panther in defending the Golden City from the upcoming assault carried out by the People. Even though both Dora Milaje leaders opposed the idea of helping the king, Shuri presented the compelling argument that T'Challa was a man of honor, unlike the leader of the People, who would surely not doubt to turn on the Dora Milaje as soon as he had vanquished the crown. Following the People's defeat in the Golden City, T'Challa had held hearings for the Dora Milaje at Burning Azaria, during which the Midnight Angels demanded for their lands to be independent. The elder Changamir made Anika realize the value of their king and eventually made peace with them. T'Challa himself set out to form a council to write down a constitution so Wakanda could have a democratic government, one where he would remain the king, but solely as a representative of his people and not their ruler. The Midnight Angel armor, it's not much information about it. It's just kind of like stealth armor made of vibranium, pretty much. The Komoyo beads is an advanced piece of technology. The prime bead, at least a few that is of note. Prime bead provides a lifetime worth of medical knowledge about the individual Wakandan from birth they are given this one bead. A V bead for audiovisual, holograms and other communication uses for like the internet and stuff like that. Communication bee, another, can be used to communicate with other Kimoyo bees, much as the West used mobile cell phones. If the Wakanas move their hand in a form of a sign language, they are able to send text messages. Bees can be added for any situation, such as home, personal security, GEO tracking. Kimoyo translates to English as of the spirit. And of course, the biggest tool in their repertoire is vibranium, a rare substance, that fell to Earth, 1 million years ago. It's like the most indestructible piece of metal known to man, second only to maybe like adamantium. So, very, very durable. So, a lot of people use them for different ways, like, Captain America's shield and the way that zips around. Black Panther's like claws and other like tools in his arsenal. So it's very, only like vibranium is known to, only adamantium has been known to actually, make any kind of cut against vibranium. And so it's like, other than that, you need like god level powers in order to actually crack the damn thing. And so far as like, skills, we probably can use like Okoye as like a good example, like at least a baseline of what the Dora Milaje can actually do. But how much this is like this master martial artist, that can range in a lot of ways. But I read a comic a year or so ago, I'm pretty sure it was like last year, where Okoye went up, is like an Iron Fist kind of like issue run last year, and Okoye had like came in halfway through, and she went up against like pretty sure it was Iron Fist, and she like held her own against him, like pretty sure she beat him, but I can't remember the full scope of it, but she held her own with Iron Fist, like one of Marvel's best martial artists in the in the Marvel comic universe. That says a lot. Now this is Okoye that we're speaking of, but like just using her as like a baseline, it's fair to say like the Dora Milaje can mix it up with a lot of people, and they obviously would have learned all kinds of hand-to-hand combat from all forms, not just like African fighting styles, but they obviously will learn to be able to combat certain people like Black Widow, who learns all kinds of forms of combat skills, and like and be able to mix up and train with Black Panther himself to be his bodyguard. You're gonna have to know a lot of martial arts. So, thing is, who I will say will win in this kind of fight? I gotta give it to the Dora Milaje slightly. Only because the thing is, like I mentioned before, like people will say like, oh, the Amazonian are gods. No, technically they might be demigods. And although they have immortality, like Diana, they can still be killed because it'll take great effort. Well, at least more on Diana's part, but their immortality just resigns to be able to live long. They don't age. But it doesn't mean they cannot be killed. More specifically because like you've seen like if you ever read any kind of like comic books with Amazons involved with with Wonder Woman in tow, but whatever. But like even with like the Wonder Woman movie, you've seen them getting taken down. So it's like that's one thing. And then the fact that their arsenal is archaic by comparison to the Dora Milaje, who have not only a mix between not only their roots in their African roots, but also mixed in with the advanced technology they have in Wakanda, more specifically vibranium, the most indestructible piece of hardware in Marvel Comics, the Marvel Universe. That only a couple of things can actually, hurt it. You actually gotta have vibranium, which obviously the Amazons don't have, or they gotta be gods, which technically they're not. I mean, at best, they might make a dent. Like if like they have like their shields, like the Wakandas have like their shields are wearing like armor with vibranium, they might make some dents. But by and large, I believe the vibraniums will hold up. And with their weapons, like spears and what, made of vibranium and all these other sorts of things, they can cut right into them. They can easily take their heads off. The Dora Milaje can easily take off an Amazon's head. And in fact, as far as like hand-to-hand combat, once again, their fighting style is like more so probably would have been just focused primarily on the Greek way of fighting. They never bothered to other than maybe Diana, they never bothered to learn any other forms of like hand-to-hand combat outside their own Greek focus fighting style. While the Dora Milaje learned all forms of fighting style in order to be able to properly defend their nation and their king. So I would definitely say the Dora Milaje could easily beat the Amazons. It'd probably be like an army on army fight. I definitely believe that like the last few one standing will be the Dora Milaje, because like there's nothing in like the Amazon arsenal that can actually get through their armor, like with the bows and they might be skilled with like bows and arrows. They might get if they're skilled with the archery, they can easily maybe like get into like hit like a direct spot where they're not armored, like that. Like they might hit like a Dora Milaje soldier's eyes and take one down that way. But it's like, you ever watch like Deadliest Warrior? It's like if you're dealing with a heavily armored, it's not like like the Amazons aren't armored. They have armor too, but their armor, by and large, would be useless against a vibranium weapon that can pretty much get through anything. It's only second behind, adamantium, which can get through anything. So it's like, yeah. And then, like I said, they maybe, they maybe cannot age, but they can be cut and killed. It's been seen before. And the Dora Milaje has taken on forces, well, as far as like, they may have equally taken on like great forces, but the Amazons, by and large, like from what I've read from time to time and what I've seen from time to time from like TV shows or movies or what have you, the Amazons like usually need help. They never like actually resisted a force on their own without any kind of assistance from whether like a Greek god or Diana or other superheroes. You know, because I've seen like in Justice League anime series, you know, like there's been a couple of times when like, you know, Diana needs help, you know, with, you know, as far as Themyscira is concerned and, you know, what have you. They by and large, like, you know, having like really, you know, like, because like the Dora Milaje rarely needed help when they're defending against like, you know, their country. And unlike Themyscira, Wakanda rarely got like, you know, it's only like a couple of times when somebody actually breached the walls of Wakanda. And it's thanks to their advanced technology that, like, you know, kept it pace with like, you know, like at least a few generations ahead of everybody else in the world, that kept them like so well hidden and so well defended. While Themyscira, even though it was a private island and like, you know, magically invisible to the rest of the world, because of that, they never been monitoring. Because unlike Wakanda, who still kept, you know, watch of the outside world, monitoring them and make sure they're always one step ahead. Because like you've seen like Black Panther, they know, you know, different languages like Korean and English and you know, Chinese and all those other forms of languages. So they obviously, you know, monitoring and learned of their, you know, from their quote unquote enemies or of the world, while Themyscira kept herself secluded and ignorant of the outside world, which kind of hinders their you know, their effectiveness in this kind of what if fight. So yeah, I gotta give it to the Dora Milaje. The Dora Milaje is just like they might not have the numbers as like, at best to say like, you know, it might be 500 Dora Milaje against maybe, because they said like, let's say like, okay, in that one note about like, you know, 1,200 of them like, you know, dying like a fight, a battle or something like that. You know, Themyscira. What was that? Where was that? Oh, and there's another thing. Allow the energy of the gods to sustain them. The Amazons revert to the clay in which they were born. But that's not really an issue for them in this kind of what if scenario. But here it is. Like Amazons outnumbered in the thousands at one point lost 1,200. So, and that was half the number at that time. So let us say in this case there's currently 1,200. Well, at least maybe like they okay, let's say there's 1,200 Amazons on the island and it made like 500 Dora Milaje. I imagine because of like their, you know, the skills and the technology, I believe like the Dora Milaje has like superior tech, skill, and knowledge that the Amazonians just does not have. Yes, they're stronger. Yes, they live longer. But they're like, they are hindered significantly by, you know, their way of thinking with like just the specifically Greek way of thinking and Greek tools at their disposal, which means nothing compared to Wakanda, Dora Milaje. So yeah, that's what I think. But what do you guys think? Am I wrong? Am I missing something, or do you agree? But yeah, let me know in the comments below. I will see you guys next time for another like versus discussion at some point. I don't know when that'll be. I'll play that by ear, but there's something I wanted to do for the next thing, but might save it for a particular day maybe. But anyway, I will see you guys next time. Take care.